بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، حمدا يكون أرض الحمد له وأحب الحمد إليه وأفضل الحمد عنده، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. اللهم صل. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of here and the hereafter. We praise Him in such a way that it is the most acceptable to Him and most liked by Him and the most deserving of His position. We convey our greeting and salutation to the Holy Prophet of Islam and his pure progenies. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ibadullah, awsikum wa iyai bitaqwallah. قال أمير المؤمنين عليه الصلاة والسلام في الخطبة الشقشقية: فلما نهضت بالأمر نكثت طائفة ومرقت أخرى وقسط آخرون، كأنهم لم يسمعوا كلام الله حيث يقول: تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. بلى والله لقد سمعوها ووعوها، ولكنهم حليت الدنيا في أعينهم وراقهم زبرجها. And when I took up the reign of government, one party broke their oath, another turned disobedient, and the third drifted out of faith. As if they had not heard the word of Allah that says, the abode of the hereafter is assigned for those who intend not to exalt themselves on earth and not to make mischief. Yes, by Allah, they heard it and understood it, but the glittering of the world seduced them and blinded them. We start with the usual reminder: please turn off your cell phone and refrain from conversation during the sermon. 1st of December, a few days ago, is the anniversary of one of the classic moves in American history. In 1955, I believe, Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seats to another white man and led to the civil rights movement. It's something that we really need to learn. Martin Luther King picked up that movement and led with it. Within the Lebanese context, as expected, George Qardawi announced that he would resign to save Lebanon from the crisis of Mohammed bin Salman and his cronies. Money always talks, as they say. On personal basis, yesterday, I believe the Shia world lost a character, a scholar, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Radi Shirazi, which was my personal teacher during the time I spent in Tehran's scholarly schools. Unfortunately, when one travels around from one hawza to another, we are exposed to a number of scholars, but it becomes extremely painful when they depart. He was one of the kindest, most knowledgeable, humble individual that one could imagine. Please join me in reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Khutbah Shaqshaqiyya, the sermon of Shaqshaqiyya, is the third sermon in Nahj al-Balagha, the way Sayyid Radi has compiled it. And one of the most famous sermons that have numerous commentaries on it, both by Shia as well as the Sunni community. It creates an opportunity. Amir al-Mu'mineen finds finally a time to vent off the pressure in his heart of what happened after the demise of the Holy Prophet and the political establishment that came to exist and formed after the Saqifa. So he finds finally the opportunity to talk. And in Arabic language, Shaqshaqiyya or Shaqshaqa means pouring out of one's heart, loaded with grief and heavy burden. The section that I recited just now, it talks about a nature of a sedition. A number of seditions during the life of the short period of his Khilafah that assesses the nature of what he calls Jamal al-Nakithin, Siffin al-Qasitin, and Nahrawan al-Mariqin. The titles for this sedition is taken from a hadith from the Holy Prophet ﷺ that says, Ya Ali, anta tuqatilu al-Nakithin wal-Qasitin wal-Mariqin. There are those, you're going to fight them, that they break their oath, and others that turn disobedient, and the third that they drift from the faith and go towards, these are the Khawarij that we have. The first of this sedition, I want to focus on the Battle of Jamal and a lesson we learn from the Battle of Jamal. The first of these three seditions during the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Battle of Jamal, was organized by three figures: Aisha, Talha, and Zubair. Because Aisha was riding a red camel, naturally that battle was called the Battle of Jamal or Battle of Camel. And this is the second civil war in the history of Islam. The first civil war immediately after the demise of the Holy Prophet and the Saqifa outcome, in which a group of Muslims in around Medina refused to acknowledge the political outcome of the Saqifa arrangement, and because of their dissatisfaction, they refused to give zakat to Baytul Mal. And we all know what happened. So under this, the first civil war, it is the government that sends a troop to crush dissidents that simply said, we will not agree with the political structure and we will not pay zakat to it. Under the leadership of Khalid ibn Walid, read the history and see what happened. It's a shame on Islamic history that such an event takes place and nobody is punished for the crimes committed. The second one is the Battle of Jamal, which is the first in the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen after he starts as Khalifa. It's a military war waged by these three individuals. And but it is this time the mutiny is organized by subjects against an established Khilafah and order of well-known Khilafah and order that publicly everybody voted for and accepted Amir al-Mu'mineen as the Khalif. So it's now the reverse. And this uprising had huge consequences on the political structure, not during the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen. What happens after, then we have the Khilafah of all these individuals, Bani Umayyah and Bani al-Abbas, because this now becomes the green light. If you don't like something, you can rise against it. Whether it's right or wrong, that's a different story. I'm not worried here about the history, why it happened and how it happened. I want to go back to the what I recited earlier from Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salamu alayhi, that Amir al-Mu'mineen says, كأنهم لم يسمعوا كلام الله حيث يقول تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين بلى والله لقد سمعوها ووعوها. This is the crux of the matter. ولكنهم حليت الدنيا في أعينهم وراقهم زبرجها. If you want to understand why Aisha, Talha and Zubayr stood up against the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's because of the love of power, and they were mesmerized and blinded by the material world. You really need to go back to the history during particularly Uthman and find out what happened to these individuals, that they suddenly find it very difficult to live under a just rulership of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The concept of the blindness that comes through love of material life and turns an individual, a believer, into abd, the servant of material life, is something that the Holy Quran as well as ahadith talk about it. Famous hadith by Imam Hussein salawatullah salamu alayhi, الناس عبيد الدنيا. People are servant of the material life. So it is possible for somebody to become abd, the servant of the material life. Quran says, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. You become subservient to your ego and your desire. Nafs al-ammara dictates how to control your life. وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ. Because now there is nothing in your heart for Allah, Allah leaves you to go misguided. وَخَتَمَ عَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَجَعَلَ بَصَرَهُ غِشَاوَةً. There is a seal on the heart, on one's ear and on the eyes. We don't see the reality of the world around us. It blinds us. حب الدنيا, it's something that we really need to be mindful of. We have listened to speeches given and sermons by somehow scholars that they come to talk about Ashura, Shimr. In Siffin, in the battle of Siffin, he was in the camp of Ali. And he was injured, nearly killed. Had he been killed in battle of Siffin, we would have stood up here and said, Ash-Shaheed Shimr. 16 times during his life, walks barefooted from Medina to Mecca for Hajj. But yet, when the opportunity comes to grab the wealth and power, everything will be forgotten. He's ready to slaughter the grandson of the Holy Prophet for power and for wealth. وَأَمَّا ثَمُودُ فَهَدَيْنَاهُمْ فَاسْتَحَبُّوا الْعَمَى عَلَى الْهُدَى. We gave them guidance, but they preferred to remain blinded by the material world rather than to be guided by the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a critical issue. And Rasulullah, حُبُّكَ لِلشَّيْء blinds and makes you deaf. You don't see, you don't hear the reality that is happening around you. Why? Because of the attachment. The attachment. And this is not something that Islam talks about. Go and read about the concept of the attachment, even in Buddhist and Hindu tradition, that attachment is contrary to the development of human being. Paralyzes a person. He cannot see or hear. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, إِنَّكَ إِذَا أَطَعْتَ هَوَاكَ. If you follow your hawa, your ego, and your nafs, أصمك وأعماك. Blinds, and you cannot see the reality. So, love of material life and sparkle and the glitter of material life removes the power of judgment from human beings, and we become blinded by the reality. Aisha knew who Ali was and how close he was to the Holy Prophet. Talha and Zubayr knew who Ali was. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the history of Saqifa, during the time when Abu Bakr, Umar and others were organizing their revolt against the command of the Holy Prophet, Zubayr was in the house of the Holy Prophet helping Amir al-Mu'mineen in the burial of the Holy Prophet. But then they drifted away. Why? Because during the Khilafah of Uthman, Baytul Mal was opened and given to these people ample access to take whatever they want. Now they find it difficult to live under a just person, that when they went to see him in Medina, he said, this time that you are taking for consultation, is it to do with the affairs of the Muslim or something personal? They said, no, it's a personal issue. So he brings and turns the candle off, which is in Baytul Mal, and says, just wait 1 second, I will lit another candle from my own money. The candle which has been lit from Baytul Mal should be used only for Baytul Mal. They said, as the French would say, au revoir. They cannot live under such a just society. They came out and went to Mecca, met with Aisha, and the story of Jamal was organized. So Amir al-Mu'mineen was saying that these people, it was hubbud dunya, the glitter of the material life blinded them from understanding the reality. And these stories, there is a message in it. في قصصهم لعبرة. We should learn a lesson. The lesson is that no matter who you are or who we are, if we follow our hawa and nafs al-ammara, the consequence of which is blindness of the eyes and the eyes of the heart as well. The story of those in the Holy Quran, that they are resurrected on the day of judgment blind, and they ask, رب لما حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا. Why am I blind here? I had full eyes and faculty of seeing in my life. قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها. Because you became disobedient, you became sinful, you became somehow forgetful of your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter. Material life created. We go back to Jahiliyyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the story of Jahiliyyah, we have it that Jahili people created their idols on the top of Kaaba, and they went and worshipped it. Under the banner of Islam, when material life takes over, the idols are in our heart now, not on the mantle somewhere else. The idols are in our heart. And it is a great struggle to be able to remove those idols, to see reality around. This is the message of Jamal that we would like everyone to listen to and think about. I hope and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the attachment that we have to this material world and open our inner eyes to the reality of the world around us, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat. Wa tawassaw bil-haqqi wa tawassaw bis-sabr. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونشكره على ما هدانا ونستعينه ونتوب إليه من سيئات أعمالنا، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين المعصومين. أخواتي وإخواني الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عباد الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله. يقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. من الأحاديث المشهورة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم هذا الحديث: إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق، حيث جاءت رسالة الإسلام التي حملها النبي عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام تتمة لما قبلها من الرسالات ومكملة لما سبقها من الأخلاق، ولم تكن شريعته تشريعات وأنظمة وأخلاق مفصولة عما سبقها، بل كانت بناء يكتمل ببعضه البعض. الإسلام دين السلام والعدل والمحبة، بغض النظر عن كل الإشاعات التي تدور حوله. ولكن مع الأسف الشديد المسلمين في هذه الأيام تعاملوا مع الدين بطريقة خاطئة جعلت الناس تنفر منه وتظنه ينادي بالوحشية والهمجية. يمثل الإسلام في كل مفاهيمه وتشريعاته النظام الأخلاقي الذي يعيشه الإنسان في نفسه ومع الناس من حوله. نستوحي من هذا الحديث إن كل رسالات الأنبياء تمحورت حول هذا النظام الأخلاقي في حياة الناس، لأنه عندما تنتظم حياة الناس في نظام أخلاقي يحترم فيه الإنسان الآخرين، ويرحم فيه الإنسان الآخرين، ويعمل على أن يعيش من أجل أن يسر الناس ويقضي حاجاتهم ويتحمل مسؤولياتهم، فإن ذلك هو الذي يبني الحياة. وعندما ندرس مسيرة الأنبياء ومنطقهم نلاحظ أنهم كانوا يمثلون أعلى درجات السمو الأخلاقي. وقد ورد في القرآن الكريم ما يبين لنا طريقة النبي وأسلوبه في مخاطبة الناس والعيش معهم. قال تعالى: فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. جعل الله سبحانه وتعالى الأخلاق الفاضلة سبباً للوصول إلى درجات العالية. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى: وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. وقد حث النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على حسن الخلق والتمسك به، وجمع بين التقوى وحسن الخلق، فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: أكثر ما يدخل الناس الجنة تقوى الله وحسن الخلق. وقد اختصر النبي في بعض أقواله بقوله: الإسلام هو حسن الخلق. وورد عنه صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: ثلاث من لم تكن فيه فليس مني ولا من الله عز وجل: حلم يرد به جهل الجاهل، وحسن خلق يعيش به في الناس، وورع يحجزه عن معاصي الله. وورد في الحديث عن الإمام علي عليه الصلاة والسلام: إن من مكارم الأخلاق أن تصل من قطعك وتعطي من حرمك وتعفو عمن ظلمك. توجد العديد من الأخلاق التي نادى بها الإسلام، ومن هذه الأخلاق الكرم والصدق والأمانة، صلة الرحم، بر بالوالدين، واحترام المرأة وتكريمها إلى آخره. لذلك علينا كمسلمين ونحن نعيش في عالم كله حقد وعداوة وبغضاء، أن ننطلق من خلال القيمة الأساسية للإسلام، وهي أن نأخذ بمكارم الأخلاق لتنطلق بيننا المحبة والرحمة والتكافل والتواصل والتضامن في كل قضايانا العامة والخاصة، سواء اختلفنا في المذاهب الإسلامية أو في الأحزاب والقبائل والعشائر والأعراق، لأن الإسلام يريد منا أن نبني مجتمعاً يتحرك فيه الإنسان على أساس العدل والسلام. وقد اختصر الله تعالى طريق النجاح فقال سبحانه وتعالى: والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. هذا هو الخط الذي يجب أن نأخذ به في أنفسنا وأهلنا ومجتمعنا والناس من حولنا، وبذلك نقتدي برسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الذي هو أسوتنا وقدوتنا. نسأل الله أن يجعلنا وإياكم من الملتزمين والآخذين بمكارم الأخلاق إن شاء الله في حياتنا اليومية. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك أفضل ما صليت على أحد من أنبيائك ورسلك، وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوصيين، وصل على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي الشباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه، وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.